All right. Good morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the United States. My name is Kevin. I am the general manager for Intuit at Your Table program in San Diego. And we're going to be going over a bison burger today. So just wanted to get, we'll go ahead and go through ingredients, go through the cooking process, and go through how to finish the burger too as well. I just want to make sure, can somebody give me a, hey, you can hear everything okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Perfect. All right. And then please feel free at any time to stop me, ask me a question. I won't be able to see the chat box while this is going on, so just go ahead and verbalize your questions as we get going here. So first of all, let's go over some of our ingredients that we have for today. So we'll start with the basics. I got one hamburger bun. I got some goodies we're going to put on that later. Again, that's going to be kind of up to whoever is, you're feeding. I got a tomato, lettuce, and onion, and some cheese. I did a cheddar cheese with this today. We got 1 pound of bison meat. Okay, most of your grocery stores will carry this. Now it's ground bison. The bison's going to be a little bit gamier, have a little bit more flavor than your beef. So we're going to add some other stuff in there to really kind of bring out that flavor today. Okay. So as far as my ingredients go, I do have a bottle of soy sauce here, bottle of Worcestershire, bottle of Dijon mustard. Not going to be able to see in this too well. This is some granulated garlic powder. I have some ground paprika. I have some cayenne pepper for a little bit extra kick. We're going to be using kosher salt today too as well. I have 1 cracked egg ready to go. I have some butter that I've actually softened earlier today, so that'll come in handy when I go ahead and fry my hamburger bun later. I have some fresh garlic that's chopped to a nice little dice. Some ground pepper. And a little bit of mayo, and we'll show you what to do with that here in a second. And then now I'll also be cooking on 2 different cast irons. We're going to be doing this inside the house. So I have a cast iron grill grate, and then I have a cast iron pan for the bun. What I like to use on a lot of my cast iron is avocado oil. I like avocado oil. This is actually a nice little spray that I got at Costco. I like avocado oil because it has a very high smoke point. When I say it has a high smoke point, that means the oil can be heated to a very high temperature before it starts to smoke or burn. So it's really good for sauteing, for grilling, and for doing anything in a cast iron pan. It also tends to be a little bit healthier and a little bit healthier of a fat than, say, your olive oil, which has a low smoke point, and then your canola oil, which is kind of a medium smoke point. So, all right, we'll get going. Let me adjust the camera here so you can kind of see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. All right, so first we're going to go ahead and we're going to start and prepare our bison meat. So we're going to start off with some soy sauce. So again, there's nothing else in this at any point. It has just no flavor. There's no seasoning. So we're going to add everything kind of to it to kind of bring that out of it, okay? So I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Add it in there. We're going to do a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. All right. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of my granulated garlic powder. I'm going to add just a couple shakes of cayenne. I like the spice personally it gives off on this burger. If you don't like spicy, don't use the cayenne. We're going to do a teaspoon of paprika. I'm going to go ahead. Now, the soy sauce does add a little bit of salt, but saltiness to it. I'm going to actually add a teaspoon of sea salt. The kosher salt. And I have the fresh cracked pepper. I do like the fresh cracked pepper. It tends to have a lot stronger of a flavor. And just a little bit bummer is you have to sit here and grind it out. I usually like to use fresh cracked pepper too if I'm ever doing barbecue rubs. Again, I like that coarse kind of bite that it gives off and mouthfeel too, as long as and it has a sharper flavor than the regular pre-ground stuff. So simply what I'm going to do there too is, so now I do have my egg here. I'm going to go ahead and kind of mix up my egg. The reason I'm doing that in this little bowl is I'm not going to use the whole egg. I'm going to try to use about half, or else it's going to be a little too wet. I don't want the burger to fall apart on me. So then simply what we're going to do there is get your hands dirty. Mix everything around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to form a patty here. So I'm going to take about the size that I want my burger to be. We have a little bit more here. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to turn into, you don't want to make baseballs when you cook them, because the burger is going to puff up. So you really want to make sure you flatten it out so you're using the entire space to cover your bun. It's also going to shrink a little bit when you throw it on the grill. So I want to make sure the burger is pretty nice and tight there. I'm going to let it kind of form up while we finish this. Give me 1 second while I wash my hands. All right, so now we'll move on to the next step of this process. At this point, too, it's probably beneficial that we're going to go ahead and turn on our heat on our cast iron pan. So that's what I'm doing right now. Give me 1 sec. Again, I'm going to want those to be fairly hot, just not over the point where they're kind of burning and smoking. So we're going to put that to the side. So now what I'm going to make next is our garlic aioli. So this is actually going to be a spread that we're going to put on the burger itself. So then we're going to use, I got about 2 tablespoons of garlic here, about a cup of garlic. I'm sorry, a cup of mayo. And then for a little bit extra flavor, we're going to go ahead and put about 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire into that. And then that's simply, oh, sorry, also going to put a little bit of black pepper in there. So go ahead and mix that around. It's going to be nice and mixed up like that. Go ahead and smell it. You'll smell both the mayo and the Worcestershire sauce there too as well, okay? So right now I'm going to go ahead and transfer the camera over to our stove here. Give me 1 second. All right, looks like I think everybody can kind of see what's going on in the kitchen here. So we get our stove going. We're going to get away till everything get nice and hot. Up to this point, does anybody have any kind of questions or anything that I can answer right now? Pretty basic again. So now I'm going to go ahead and give a nice little spray. I'm just going to give it 1 second to get that grill grate nice and hot here. Again, one of the reasons that I do like using the bison meat when I'm making these burgers is it's something interesting that a lot of people, it's a product that I think a lot of people see on the grocery store shelves and maybe you're afraid to grab. They don't know how to work with it. It does really good as a ground beef substitute. But it does have that kind of gamier flavor, but that allows you to kind of add some other ingredients into it to kind of work with that. That's why I like the garlic aioli in this recipe, mainly because, again, too, it's going to have garlic aioli is going to have that really strong, pungent kind of garlic flavor. Just for me, it just seems to go really, really well with the bison meat itself. So next thing I'm going to do over here is I'm going to grab my hamburger bun. I can see this one's starting to get nice and hot. So I'm going to take my butter, and I'm just going to go ahead and butter the bottom of that hamburger bun so we can get that fried up. I just got a little wooden brush here. Cool. One more second while these get nice and hot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drop my first kind of bun in my pan here. It's got a little bit of sizzle. We're just going to go ahead and try to get that nice and toasted. And we're going to set that back off to the side, and I'll show you what that looks like. We'll pick it up and show you what that looks like. Almost there. Give it another second. Kind of toast it up. right, I got a little bit of nice browning on the color there. And we're going to go ahead and do that with our second patty bun here. I'm going to put this back off to the side for us to build it later. All right, now it looks like my grill grate's nice and warm. I'm going to go ahead and place my Bison burger right on top of that grill grate. As you can hear, you'll know it's nice and hot as soon as I put the burger onto that grill. You can hear the sizzle on there. It's starting the caramelization process between the meat and the grill itself. And we're going to leave my other hamburger bun down there for another second. Bison too, again, you can treat it like it's beef. I'd recommend at least cooking it to at least medium. Typically your standard for kitchen safety would be 165 degrees. This would be considered well done, but you can get away with medium if that's your preference. I wouldn't go much below medium on the cook on that. So again, too, you can see the caramelization on the bun there, nice and toasted. So we're going to go ahead and turn that pan off. Anybody else have any other questions right now?
I have a comment. I like your new kitchen.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, me too. I like it a lot. Much more, even though it looks narrow, I got a lot more storage in my last one. And it's got all the nice upgrades. I got a nice gas stove. I got my vent hood. I have a dishwasher now. I was living life without a dishwasher there for a minute.
So you upgraded from electric to gas, huh?
Yeah. Oh, dude, it makes such a difference. The only nice part about I like it with electric stoves is you can control temperature at a low point really well. It stays fairly consistent. But that's about the only plus of having an electric stove. All right, cool. So now I'm going to go. We're not going to do any fancy grill marks today, mainly because it's going to be covered by cheese. But if you can see that, the way that looks right there, so I got a nice caramelization on the top part of that. At this point, too, since I'm not throwing this in the oven, or it's not going to be in a covered barbecue, I'm going to go ahead and throw the cheese on so it gets nice and melted. I'm a big fan of kind of folding the cheese there. I don't want it to fall off the ends too much, so I'd like to make sure I have a nice thick cheese product on the burger. Couple more seconds to get that done. We're going to throw a cover over the top of that, see if we can get that to cook, the cheese to melt a little better. Right, I'm thinking that Bison burger is just about there. And we'll go ahead and take it off of heat. Put it on my plate to rest, and I'm going to move my camera back to the other side. All right. Cool.
Is there a certain temperature it needs to be at?
Yeah, so again, the fully health department recommendation on any kind of ground beef or any kind of ground product would be 165, which is again a well done burger. You do want to make sure you hit that at least 145, which would be your medium. But again, there's always going to be risk associated with eating any kind of undercooked meat product. But if you hit one at 145, you'll be okay on that burger. And again, it'll be nice and juicy still.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab my garlic aioli. Only going to use a little bit of this. We're going to go ahead and get that going on the bottom. We're going to put some over here on our top too. And then I like to use a little bit of Dijon too as well on the top of the burger. Again, using that kind of stronger mustard flavor is going to pull out a lot of the flavor on the bison here. I'm going to go ahead and drop my burger patty there. And then again, this part is entirely up to you. Let's go ahead. Oh, my tomato's trying to run away from me here. And there we have it. That is one bison burger hot, ready and go. All right. Anybody else have any other questions? I wouldn't spoil this burger by putting a bunch of ketchup on there. I don't think it would be necessary, but if you wanted to, you totally could.
That looks amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any questions, comments, concerns? I know it's a pretty straightforward recipe. My biggest suggestion, too, is if you ever go out there and you go to the store, I mean, a lot of us are cooking at home these days. Try some of these new products. Try stuff you guys haven't seen, you know, that maybe you were afraid to pick up before. Get out there and just have some fun with it, too. So I feel like a good starting point for that, and if you're in venture into other meats, is definitely bison. It's fairly safe and easy to work with.
Okay, well, thanks. Maybe when it happens.
Well, that's all I got today. Thanks for joining us today, and have a great day.